Hello and welcome to another episode of The Collectors. Once again, I'm your host, Chad Starbuck, and I think we have another great show for you today. Our guest has quite the following on Instagram, where she goes by the moniker of Miss Vicious Design. I happen to know her as Jenasie Earl, and she resides right here in the Salt Lake City, Utah area, just like myself. And Jenasie has quite the designer's eye when it comes to her collecting, so I'm very excited to see how she has curated her collection. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into our conversation with Miss Vicious Design. All right, Jenasie, hey, thank you so much for being on the show today. Welcome to The Collectors. So it's quite the pleasure to have you on the show. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Now, I was kind of thinking back to when we first met. So we're both from the Salt Lake City area, and kind of with everybody as I'm having a conversation with them, I'm trying to remember when we met, and I'm sure it was either at an estate sale.
Yes, probably.
I'm sure that's where we started, and then we connected on Instagram after that.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember exactly either, but probably in a line at an estate sale or something.
At a line at an estate sale. So when it comes to your collecting and kind of listening or kind of wanting to hear what your story is, right? Is there something that kind of inspired you to kind of start up collecting the types of things that you do?
So I started thinking about this even more, and I honestly wonder if it came from watching The Little Mermaid as a child.
Oh, really?
That was my favorite show ever.
And she was a collector.
She was a collector, and that was like my favorite part of the show. I remember her going in her treasure trove and like looking and seeing, oh, what's there? And my kids watched it the other day, and I still did it to see what they did in the animation, to see what was in there, because it's like, oh, I wonder if I have anything that's in her treasure trove. And then, the first time I went to the thrift store as a child, I kind of felt the same way. It was like, wow, what is this magical place of all these different weird things to look at? And I've just been kind of hooked since.
So what do you think? Has it been like all your life? Since you saw The Little Mermaid, or when do you think you really got into, hey, I enjoy this, and, I enjoy finding these types of things?
So I think, I've always been really excited about those kinds of things, but my family, I didn't grow up going to yard sales or thrifting. I got more, like anytime I had the chance to, I'd ask my mom, but I got more into it late teens with friends. We started, we didn't have a lot of money, and so we started getting really creative with our outfits. And when you don't have money and you want to look cool, the thrift store is the place to be. So we would go thrift, and we would find all these outfits, and a lot of them 70s inspired. I think that might be my favorite era, but we would make these outfits, and we would do photo shoots.
Oh, cool.
We'd get jewelry, we'd get accessories, we'd get boots, we'd get clothes, coats, and then we'd all take pictures, and then we'd all go out to a party or something after. And I look back on that as like super fun times. I don't really sell clothing or do clothing as much anymore, but that's definitely what got me started. Yeah, that's what got me really going and frequenting the thrift stores.
So I know that, when I think of you, and obviously, especially with your Instagram, quite the following that you have on Instagram, you go by the name of Miss Vicious Design. And I think you have quite the design instinct when it comes to your collecting. So when did you kind of get into the aspect of the home decor, the furniture, and things like that?
So that came as we bought our first house, and yet again, you're on a budget. You don't have a lot to work with. We were young, had 2 young kids, bought our first house, and it was one that was in really rough condition. So we had gutted it and redone it. And then I wanted to decorate for it, but I couldn't afford to. And so I found an estate sale, and I went, and I was like shocked. I'm like, wow, look at all this cool stuff. So I started buying stuff for my house and hanging it up and decorating. And then more people are like, wow, where'd you get that? And so it just started fueling me to go more and more and more to not only fill my house, but then people wanted to buy the things that I had found.
I think kind of like me, I think that's kind of how it started to where, you're going out and you're finding things that, that you're attracted to and the things that you like. And then you realize that there are people out there that have the same attraction to those items, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, when did that come about? So I do know that not only do you collect and you decorate your home with the things that you find, but you're also going out there and you're thinking about other people too, and the items that you're looking for, to where, hey, there's other people that might want these items. When did that start to kick in, as far as, I can start making a little living out of this?
I think it was about a year or two in of starting to find them. I mean, I would sell little bits here and there, but then I got a bit more serious about it a couple years in. And then I was managing a restaurant at the time. I worked in the restaurant industry, so it was kind of like a side job. And then about 4 years ago, I left that job and to be a mom and focus solely on reselling and decorating. About 4 years ago is when I took it really serious.
So obviously, being a buyer and seller, where are you selling today?
Today I sell at Salt and Honey Market, which is a little shop downtown in Salt Lake City. Super cute shop. They have a lot of like handmade, homemade stuff, and then they have a whole vintage row. And me and some of my other favorite sellers all sell there together, which is really awesome. And then I sell on my Instagram and locally, post it locally on Instagram. You're
kind of primarily a local seller, but you do have quite the following from around the country as well. And you've obviously, incorporated your design work in there. So I think your collecting has kind of moved into design. And so are you doing more design work now too?
I do a good even amount of both. I mostly do designing my own home and share that, but I do a lot of design work for others by taking what they have, using the items that they have, the things they've collected. The people that contact me usually are other people that like vintage.
Yep.
They're people that, or they have these vintage things that maybe were passed down to them and they don't know how to incorporate it in their home. And then they see my Instagram and they see how I use it and make it look cooler and not like an old lady house or something. Like I have this crazy 1970s couch in my living room. Most people would be like, what the heck is that? But I've modernized it and created a whole room around it. So I work with a lot of people using mostly what they have to make their space look and feel like them and feel like home. Right. And having those treasured pieces, things that mean something, grandpa's desk or grandma's piano and their trinkets and their treasures, and use them and show them off and make them look nice. So it's a house that means something to them. It's not, it's just more personal.
Right. And obviously, I think that's great. And I think that that's really important for a lot of people, that they do have that treasured item and they don't necessarily know how to display it or where to use it in their home. And so being able to, if they're contacting you directly, or at least being able to see, like on your Instagram, how you have done it in your home, gives them the inspiration, the ideas to do it in their own home. So obviously, the market here in Salt Lake City, there are quite a few estate sale companies and such. And I know that you travel around to a lot of them. Is that where you're kind of curating most of your items, is through estate sales?
Yeah, I would say estate sales tend to be where I get most of this stuff. It seems like a lot of thrift stores are very saturated with people right now. And with COVID, it's really hard because they're not bringing out as much stuff lately. But estate sales and yard sales, it's usually a lot more in one location, and you have a better chance of finding something that speaks to you personally.
Right.
Or Facebook Marketplace, if I'm looking for a larger type of item, like if I'm like, okay, I want a new dining set, I'm not going to really go search estate sales because I'm not sure that that's going to be my style. But if I go to Facebook Marketplace or the classifieds, then I'm able to find maybe more of a specific item to fit my niche.
You've become, pretty well known on Instagram as well. Are people coming to you with any items these days?
I do. Sometimes people message me and say, hey, look, I got this or I got that. I would love, are you interested in anything? And I get really excited. And I also get excited. There's people that find places at thrift stores and say, I saw this at a thrift store. I thought of you. Do you want me to grab it? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
That'd be great.
Are you willing to do that? Cool. Recently, I had a woman offer to me her antique bentwood cradle. And she was like, I just want it to find a home. It's been in my family for years, and I would love for it to find a home. And I feel like you could do that. And she knows that I care about the items. I care about them. It's not just about the money and flipping it. It's about finding them a home that they're going to be treasured in.
Well, I think that, that was one of the things between you and I as well. I mean, I was, I know that you like boho types of items and decor types of items. And I was at a sale and I saw these, these wicker chairs and such, called you up. I think got them for you. You came and picked them up, but because it just wasn't my style. It wasn't something that I was necessarily interested, not only in buying, but then reselling.
Yeah. Well, and with bigger items, you want to get something that's more your style because it's going to be easier to sell and you don't want to store it for that long. Yeah. And those were awesome. I still sing your praises about sending me those. They were the prettiest sets of chairs. I think I sold them within 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And it was so fast. And I had all these people looking for them. Right now, wicker chairs are so huge. And I can't even find them anymore. They're so hard to find. They're so hard to find. And people are buying them for amazing amounts of money.
Let's jump into a little bit of kind of what you're collecting today. Because I know, you have your collection pretty much in your home. And then obviously you display it as well at the couple of the markets that you sell at and such. So what are the items that right now that really make you happy?
I get really excited about brass. Pretty much brass, anything. I love
You've
brass.
You've got some, there's some brass behind you. I see that.
You can see all this brass and glass shelf. I get really excited about these. I get excited about quirky, weird things like skulls, anything pretty. I love pretty things. So,
and pretty, I mean, when you have that decorator mind, I mean, pretty is important.
Yeah.
You want to have something in your home that kind of represents you. And so I think, pretty or that has a nice design look to it is important.
Right.
Is there something in your collection that I think maybe is like really unique to you that you're really proud of?
Oh, yes. I think it's my weirdest and most unique and cool buy because I bought it from another vintage seller. It is my mummified octopus. Oh, wow. So my friend, luckily, Erin from Park Street Vintage, she buys locally and she found this guy, the person she bought it from pulled it out of his garage because he bought this over 50 years ago at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco when he was with his grandpa. And it initially, when you buy these, they initially have the
fluid
in it. And apparently over time, the fluid had leaked out and it just hardened. Just hardened the way it was. And he's super weird.
Does it move in there or is it not moving anymore? Oh, it moves. Okay.
It can move, but it's really hard and nothing has chipped off of him. Like you can even see the very end swirliness of his tentacle.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's super fun. And then I had my dad make me this little stand for him.
Stand for it.
Because I thought he was special. He needed to be seen.
You've got some items in your house that I know that you're really proud of and that you display them. And that kind of leads into the way you look at art. Do you buy a lot of art?
I do. I don't feel like I'm an art connoisseur. There's a lot of people that go to sales for art and for, the name, the signature, who made it. Literally almost everything I buy is because it brings me joy.
Sure.
Because I see it, I get excited, I think it's beautiful, and so I buy it. For me, not for its worth. Almost everything I buy is more for how beautiful it is and not the dollar sign behind it.
Right.
Occasionally, obviously, I got to make money, but don't we all? Yeah. So I'm drawn to floral and fruit still life art. I really love floral still lifes, and I love portraits. Most of my portraits are more of a print, not actual paintings, but I don't really care because it's more about how it looks to me. I mean, man, if I could score a portrait painting for a good price, yeah, I will buy it.
Right.
My favorite is the one behind us. It's
some fruit, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fruit still life. I love how dark and moody the design is. And it was from it was from an artist's home, and I scored it for $5. And I think it's my favorite painting in the house. Next to the 5'4" original still life that I bought in quarantine that I had no idea how big it was.
Oh, wow.
I bought it on auction. I sent my dad to pick it up, and he's like, is my car going to be good enough for this? And I was like, yeah, it's just a painting, Dad. He got there. It's 5'4". It's huge. Wow. And it's really cool. I just never had an original painting that large, and I scored on that one. I got it for really cheap.
That is great. And I think when it comes to the art, the other facet of it that is very important is the frame. And I've certainly seen a lot of your frames, and I know that you just buy frames too. Yes,
I do. I love gaudy gold. Give me all the gold and that Victorian era, those chunky frames, the wood and plaster. I don't even mind if the plaster has some imperfections. It gives it some character and it shows its age. I love to do frames and frames to add to the design. And it also adds to a space. You're filling a space more by using one piece of art with multiple frames.
What about a little bit, so obviously, again, having that designer's eye, I'm certainly draws you to furniture as well. And there's one photo of yours that certainly goes around on Instagram a lot. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
My living room. I have a sunken living room with a giant black fireplace and the most beautiful blue cobalt couches. And fantastic. I love those couches. I had searched, since we moved in, I had searched for any jewel tone couches. I was pretty open to which color, just jewel tones. And you can find them online, they're about $1,500 a piece. So I definitely couldn't splurge quite $1,500 a piece on them. And I saw some in an estate sale photo. The photo was really dark. I couldn't really tell the color or the condition or anything like that. And so I started going to the estate sale thinking I was on time, because here a lot of estate sales start at 10 a.m. Yep. It started at 9. And I was like, oh my gosh, I realized it on the way there. And I'm like, okay, they're gone. What the heck? Oh my gosh, I screwed myself. So I got there and I walk in. Everybody's gone at this point, because they're gone within an hour because they're on to the next sale. I got there and they were there, and I was shocked. I was so shocked. They have a very mid-century look, and that's just so popular. So I thought for sure they'd be gone. They were only $50 a piece.
Wow.
It was nuts. But then I'm crazy, and I bought one. They're matching set. I bought one for $50. And I just took the cushions with me. I knew I had to come back with the truck to pick them up. And then I called my husband, and I had been buying a lot of couches lately. Because I was trying to find some to fit this space, and I was really struggling to find what I wanted on a budget. So I call him as soon as I leave, and he's like, well, why didn't you buy both of them? And I was like, you're cool with me buying both of them? Are you serious? So I came home, and the sale, like by the time we really had a conversation, the sale was over. So I had to sweat it out, hoping they were still there. And I ended up being the first one there the next day, and it was still there, and it was half off.
So another score.
I got the pair for $75.
And you've had those for how long now?
I think I've had them for 2 years.
Okay.
2 years now. And I can't even imagine my living room without them. Like they're just perfect in there. I love that room. I don't want to change it. I love the vintage rug with it. Those and all the plants I have in there. It's my favorite room in the house.
That is so cool.
Full of my favorite treasures. So
yes. Well, that's definitely, like I said, that's definitely a picture that gets shared quite a bit.
It does.
Across Instagram. The other thing that I think you're known for as well, tell us a little story. How did you get into mirrors, and why do you like mirrors?
I've tried to figure out what I'm drawn to mirrors, like what makes me drawn to them. I mean, obviously the gold. Usually it's a gold thick frame mirror that I'm drawn to.
Right.
And then I'm like, am I just vain? Do I just like to look at I mean, I don't know, but I love gold mirrors. And I mean, I had seen online, mirror walls, and just seeing how beautifully they look in a group. Like the more mirrors together, it's just so beautiful. So then I learned, okay, everybody likes to buy my mirrors. Okay, I'm just going to buy almost every mirror I find. So I'm a mirror hoarder. I have a lot of mirrors. And I always have extras downstairs hidden away in my shop. And some that I should probably sell, but don't want to. Like I have a big pink mirror. I love it. It's unique. I can't sell it. I can't bring myself to sell it. Do I need it? No.
Right.
But it's cool.
But I think that's part of the fun of this, right? To where, we can find something and we really love it. We can showcase it in our house, in our personal collection, but then maybe after a period of time, we can let it go. Right. And we can let somebody else enjoy it as well. And I think that's kind of the spirit of kind of what we do in regards to being able to curate things, find things for ourselves and for other people, display them for a while, and then pass them on.
Yeah, that is the best part, because it's nice to find somebody else that appreciates something as much as you do.
Exactly.
But then again, we all have our collections, and
that's
mirrors.
Right.
Mirrors are mine, but it's the one thing. I do a wall at the market of mirrors, and they tend to be what draws people in. Right. Everybody comes to look at the mirror wall. So I love creating that every year, and the excitement that it brings, and finding all of these mirrors that I love, new homes.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that, that you're into this, not necessarily, you're not looking to buy something and sell it for a huge price, right? But is there an item that you did come across and you didn't necessarily know the value of it, and then when you did a little research and you sold it, that you made a nice little profit off of it?
Yeah, I definitely find things that I make more money off of it than I anticipated, because I see it, I like it. I don't know what makes it cool quite yet, but I'm going to buy it, take the risk, bring it home, do some research, do some cleaning up. So just a couple months ago, about 2 months ago, I bought a mid-century chair, and it was a rocking chair, and it was really pretty, but it had some scratches. It had the original wool cushions, but they were dirty, and it just needed some love. So I bought it for $20.
Wow.
Didn't know, I had no idea what it was. Well, I ended up bringing it home, started cleaning it up, and found out that it was a mid-century modern Danish designer chair. Cool. That was worth a bit more. And online, they sell for a lot more, but since I'm selling it locally, I don't ask what I would if I was shipping it. But I think I ended up making like $400 off of it. So no, I don't have any of those crazy, like, oh, I made 10 grand on something, but hey, I'll take $400 off of something any day. And
that's
the ability to find like cool things too, like getting the excitement and learning, because learning about this designer was really cool to me.
No, that's really cool. And I think that's another piece of the puzzle of what we do. And the fun part of it is finding things, not necessarily, maybe you're attracted to it for some reason and you bring it home, do a little research and you go, hey, this is a nice little find.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always exciting.
Again, kind of going back to the design aspect, to where you've got that designer eye, and then people have recognized that you have that designer eye. Have you been featured any places as it relates to your design work?
Yeah. I actually was in Origin magazine this year, and there is another magazine feature coming out in November that I will be in, which I'm excited about. That one is going to be, they both are national publications, but this one I think will be in a lot of places. And then I've been featured on like Apartment Therapy, Hunker Home, PS Magazine, which is actually in the Sunday Post in England.
Oh, wow.
So I was in the Sunday Post in England, which was pretty cool. And then like on a lot of blogs, multiple Instagram feeds, those kinds of places.
Well, Jenasie, it's certainly been a pleasure having you on the show today. But before we go, I want to make sure that we let everybody know, in a sense, kind of how they can reach you or how they can find you. Where can people find you on the social medias?
My social media is Miss Vicious Design on Instagram. I also have a website, missviciousdesign.com.
Okay.
But Instagram is where I spend a lot of my time. If you want to contact me, if you want to lurk me, and if you want to find all my treasures and see a few of these pieces in that living room we've been talking about, that's where you can go see it all.
Well, that's fantastic. And like I said, it's certainly been a pleasure having you on the show today. You have a great eye, and many of the items that you have, I think, are not only they're not only enjoyed by you, but they're enjoyed by others as well. So thanks for being on the show today.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Chad. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Keep collecting.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, all right. That is another episode of The Collectors that is now in the books. I certainly want to thank our guest today, Jenasie Earl, better known as Miss Vicious Design. It was certainly enjoyable having her on the show today. And as always, I certainly need to thank you guys. Thank you for watching. And if you like the show, be sure and hit that like button. Be sure and share this out with your friends and family. And be sure and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And then join us next time on The Collectors as we get to experience another unique collection and collector. Take care and keep collecting.